Ideally, you would have a second person on the YouTube channel. 18-second lag. Okay, and I've got a thumbnail. When you're ready, get your assistant to go live on the YouTube control room. Ah, yes, I think we're there. No, we're not there yet. Okay, so yes, I think we're there. No, we're not there yet. Oh dear. Okay, so yes, I think we're there. No, we're not there yet. Oh dear. Okay, so yes, I think we're there. No, we're not there yet. Oh dear. Okay, so yes, I think we're there. No, we're not there yet. Oh dear. Okay, so yes, I think we're there. No, we're not there yet. Oh dear. Okay, so yes, I think we're there. No, we're not there yet. Right, so it looks to me like we're gonna. Oh no! Right, so it looks to me like we're gonna. Oh no! Right, so it looks to me like we're gonna. Oh no! Right, so it looks to me like we're gonna. Right, that is gonna be really irritating.
Oh, well, no, it can't. We can't do. It keeps repeating. We can't do that.
Yeah, and then the repeat is being recorded, so it's repeating the repeat, the repeat, the repeat, the repeat.
Yeah,
So that doesn't work.
I want us to keep that though.
Oh, well, I've stopped it. Hold on. When you're ready, get your assistant to press go live on the YouTube channel. So
Or do you need me to maybe go in the YouTube channel and maybe it needs to be done from a different computer or something?
maybe it did say. The thing is that it's I'm seeing the recording and you're laughing so much. I'm not quite sure what I'm when you're ready, go to, so I think it's live because it's
Well, it's saying custom live streaming service here.
where's it saying that?
Well,
On
I've
us.
I had a this is going to a custom live streaming service.
Okay. Your attendants will now be able to see the live broadcast, right? So that's going to be really professional. Any messages that are put in the well, I can edit it once we yeah, I can edit it. So I can cut that out.
Should
So
I
what?
go onto the YouTube channel and see what's happening?
Yeah, I think that would probably be. So we've been live for 4 minutes and concurrent viewers zero, so that's a good sign.
Phew.
That's
Uh,
really, really, really funny.
where's search?
It's on
Oh, there it is.
Sovereign Leadership, uh, Institute of Sovereign Leadership.
It's live. Yeah, and there we are.
So we're there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, should we start then? And Yeah, I'm going to have to.
Let me leave here though, because that's going to confuse matters.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. So welcome to our first YouTube live of Sovereign Dialogue. And historically, what we've done is we've done this actually on Facebook. We've decided to come off Facebook and to do this on YouTube instead. And what we've done in the last 4 series is we've taken like the themes that have appeared in the Sovereign Dialogue sessions that we've done during the week. And then we've done one of these live sessions where we've talked about it a little bit and shared some of our ideas and some of our thinking and the things that are exciting and interesting to us as part of that process. So, for those of you that are not aware of Sovereign Dialogue and the process that we're calling Sovereign Dialogue, basically the process is one of accessing the wisdom within yourself to get insight, guidance, and wisdom on a particular topic or a particular question or a particular challenge or problem that you might be facing. So that rather than outsourcing the wisdom to another person or a mentor or ChatGPT or some Instagram influencer or whatever it might be, that you're practicing the art of going inside yourself and finding the wisdom that is within yourself. And not doing that from a place of being ungrounded or being uncentered or from anxiety or fear or worry, but being able to do it from a place where you're connected to your sovereignty, that you feel grounded, that you feel calm, that you feel connected to the inherent wisdom that is within yourself. So that was the original idea of Sovereign Dialogue. And I, again, want to hand over to Thea and just, anything in there that I might have missed that you think is important to sort of frame up this idea of Sovereign Dialogue before we get into the topics themselves.
Yeah, so Sovereign Dialogue is the core offering at the moment of the sovereign leadership programs that we run. And sovereign leadership is approaching leadership from the perspective that it's all in us, that as people, just as normal people, everyday people, we all have inherent leadership skills, but those skills and resources get hidden, or we lose confidence in them because of the layers of beliefs that we have, the unconscious patterns that we run. And yet it's always there. Our ability to hold and create a vision is inherent. Our ability to connect with the people we need to connect with and build relationships and networks that serve us is inherent. Our ability to resolve conflicts, holding our integrity and serving everyone in the room is inherent. And we feel we developed the kind of the umbrella of sovereign leadership as a way of accessing that. Sovereign Dialogue is a regular practice session that we run that enables people to tap into their own wisdom. It's a very, although it's structured, it's very unguided, and we're all constantly looking for ways to keep devolving that decision making to the people on the call rather than it coming from us as much as possible. So we set a structure, we do the dialoguing the same as all the participants do. And I think structurally it really helps that we set it up with a kind of regulation opportunity through a meditation or an embodiment practice as we come together. Then we have the dialogue, the Sovereign Dialogue session, which is primarily writing. Most people choose to write. Some people could record it. And then we have time in breakout rooms to share what's come up and ground it further in our awareness, and then we have a little session at the end where we share as a group in order to kind of deepen our support for one another and our awareness of what's going on for everyone. So that's Sovereign Dialogue as a whole.
And this is the 5th, so we're just starting the 5th season of these. So we've been doing these now for 18 months. And what people really value about the Sovereign Dialogue experience is that, one, there's community, but respectful community that listens and witnesses and doesn't give advice, but really sees people and hears people when they share their insights, when they share their wisdom. And another aspect that they really love about it is that it's just 1 hour and it's online, but it's a space and a place where people, it's like a retreat where people can unplug from the busyness of their lives, be they business owners or mothers or carers or whatever it might be, but they have that time to be able to slow down, to have some silence and to have some reflective space so that they can go into themselves and access that wisdom within themselves. And then a third aspect that people really appreciate is when they do access that wisdom, they are endlessly and constantly surprised by the wisdom that comes out of themselves. And I think that that bit is incredibly important because we are, as I said earlier, we are so used to devolving outsourcing, sorry, the wisdom to other people that we forget that we have inherent wisdom within us. And that takes many forms, but we need to be quiet enough for long enough so that we can begin to hear that, and not just to sense it, but to hear it, and then also to be able to act on it, which is like another aspect of it that we won't be talking about so much today. But that sensing and listening is really important as part of this sovereign leadership idea that we're trying to develop and cultivate in leaders.
Mm.
Mm.
And also that for us, the theme of this series, we tend to have a theme of each season of Sovereign Dialogue sessions. They run usually they're between 8 and 12 week seasons. We've got a nice long one. We've got a 12-week season that we just started this week. And our last season focused on creativity, and it was great. It was really interesting to see where it took people and to keep looking at our inherent creativity from different angles and different ways of exploring it using questions and prompts in our Sovereign Dialogue. So Sovereign Dialogue itself is a kind of a guided meditation to embody the sovereign in you. So an upright, relaxed posture. If it helps, maybe imagining a crown, that sense of just being steady, having self-authority, self-responsibility, confidence in your own resources and what's available to you. And from there, you either ask a question or you start to let the insights flow, and then you capture them through whatever form works for you. I mean, we've always joked it could be interpretive dance if you want it to be, but not many people have chosen that one, unfortunately, yet. Most people just write, or like sometimes just sit in meditation and let it all just be with them.
Or doodle.
And
Doodle's one of them.
Mm?
Doodling. Doodling's one of them.
And
People
doodling,
doodle.
yes,
Yeah,
the
that's another one.
doodling happens. Yes, that's for sure. And this season we're exploring the theme that it's all in you, that creativity is there, but we don't need to outsource our creativity. Everyone has their own access to a creativity that is theirs and theirs alone, that's true to them, that's maybe nuanced by who they are and how they are in the world, that may be different to other people's creativity, but it's always there. And so this season we're really exploring the theme of it's all in you, and we're further bringing that home by not setting questions for the first time. So previously David and I have got together and decided what we think would be a valuable question to explore as a group. We've always give the advice, if you have a different question, you ask the question that's relevant to you, because self-responsibility is one of our core values of our work. And so this is a practice that David's established himself over his many months of doing sovereign dialogue, and he started to drop the question some time ago because of his partly because of your Feldenkrais practice, really, wasn't it? That you started just exploring where your body took you because of that sensitivity that you were developing in your own embodied awareness.
Yeah.
And so we thought, well, let's stop setting a question. Let's see where it takes everybody to let their body speak and follow that to where it needs to go. Because if it's in them, it's in them. They don't need an external question. So we've had a couple of sessions running it this way. It's been really interesting so far. I found it really valuable already, because I've tended to do my dialoguing in the past with a question that I've framed for myself, usually. So I'm finding it also really interesting. And I don't know if you want to reflect maybe on some of your observances or...
Yeah. So what I started to notice when I was doing the sovereign dialogue earlier and working with a question was I noticed that I was having feelings, sensations, emotions, and sometimes they could be joyful, sometimes they could be anxiety, sometimes it could be resistance, sometimes it could be tension. Like there was a whole kind of range of things that I would feel, and that those feelings were like informing how I was answering the question. And then I thought, well, what if I just don't ask a question? What if I just started to go with the feeling? And it kind of happened quite organically. But what I started to notice is that like the way you described it the other day, Thea, was really helpful and felt true to my experience as well. It's like there's this meandering, like there's no straight line to the answer. There's this meandering that follows feeling and sensation, and then there are memories, and then there's insight, and so like my attention is moving around in all these different in all these different ways, but the insights that I was getting were really really amazing. One of which was, for example, um, the sovereign leadership framework that which is also part of our core work. You know, that just came out of like it just came out of nowhere. Although we've refined it a little bit, you know, like its core essence of awareness, acceptance, and choice, and empowerment, and then stewardship, like that was there literally in the first few seconds, and then kind of elaborating that. Another example was the one, you know, where I've created this almost like a council chamber in my imagination, yeah, that has all kinds of really rich detail that really helps me get into the zone of being in my sovereignty, which has been a phenomenal resource for me as I've taken that forward. And so one of the things that I've really been practicing and trying to encourage people to do in this series of sovereign dialogue is to, as we say, drop the question, but to really tune into what the feelings and sensations are in your body. And for a lot of people on the call, and ourselves included, there was some anxiety, there was some worry, there was some concern. There was, you know, both of us said to each other, you know, like, well, this is different and it feels quite edgy. And what if everyone goes, right, that's it, I'm not doing this anymore, you know, and we kind of lose all the community. So these are concerns that we've had, but it's felt true. Like we've followed our sovereign leadership, we've followed our sovereign wisdom, and gone in this direction. And what we've noticed is if people become aware of and accept the anxiety, the worry, the concern, the doubt, the fear, whatever it might be, from their sovereignty, from a place of being in their sovereignty, there's like a way through it. Like I can be fearful and I can be in my confidence. I can have doubt and at the same time I can have conviction. And it's this sort of paradox that does seem paradoxical when you talk about it, kind of just like in the way that I'm talking about it. But the actual lived experience is I can experience that doubt in my body, and I can also be centered and grounded in myself and know that that is just a feeling that I'm experiencing, but it doesn't have to define me and it doesn't have to define my actions and my choices and the steps that I take um, in response to the challenge that I'm facing or the situation that I'm in. And so what I've noticed, and I don't want to speak for Thea, but when we've spoken a little bit about it, I think it's similar. And people on the call is that they're finding when they go through that negativity, they're finding a positive thread that comes out of that. And then that's the thread that they follow. And then they just get this phenomenal insight. So I don't know if you want to kind of speak to any of that, Thea, as well, because that feels like an
Yes,
important thread.
so much of it, so much. Yeah, definitely. That like that awareness and acceptance piece. I've said this to David often because the sovereign leadership framework is just I love it, and we have tinkered with it, but very minimally, really. It's mostly we've used it as David just kind of downloaded it from his own practice. And like we as both having studied embodiment and in particular embodiment as a tool for coaching as a really valuable approach to coaching, part of that very common coaching foundation is awareness and acceptance. That a lot of coaching is based on having awareness, awareness and choice, having awareness of what's going on for you, and therefore having full choice about how you progress. A lot of people think they have choice, but because they're not aware of their unconscious patterns and habits, they don't actually. They're following a kind of predicated pathway that is it that resolves how they think life is, which is, you know, reiterating the conditions of life that may not be fabulous, but which are comfortable and safe because they're known. And they're layered. Those patterns are layered. They're unconscious and therefore not always easy to see. Unconscious means unconscious, so you have to go looking if you want to know what's playing out, or sometimes you have to kind of reach a stage of maturity where you start seeing the patterns playing out through your life and go, hold on, I've been here before, what's that about? And so there, that model is very well known. But then what David's brought to this structure is acceptance as a middle point of that. So now the sovereign leadership framework has awareness, acceptance, and choice. And at first I thought, yeah, that's nice, a bit of acceptance. It's kind of, I was a bit dismissive about it, but the more I've sat with it and the more I've used it in my dialogue practice and the more I've explored acceptance, the more of a superpower I've recognized it to be in our inherent creativity. And the more of a block it is if you don't have a step that is about acceptance. Because what I've experienced over 15 years of coaching, of supporting, of learning and of coaching is so many people like they have a blinding revelation about themselves. Oh my God, I have a control belief. Oh, wow, that's, you know, oh, I can see it there and I can see it there. And then go into, okay, well, I'll move beyond that. But there's a bit of them going, oh, it's not nice. It's not nice to have a control belief. It's not a very nice thing. And because people often don't get to that bit where they go, but it's okay to have a control belief. It's a normal human part of you to have a control belief. It's not all negative. It's served you in different circumstances in your life. It's got you to where you are now. So there's value in the way you've approached your life so far, perhaps. And it therefore kind of there's been this falsely positive step into a more open choice, which can really function for a while, can work fine for a while, but I find it kind of starts to disintegrate at some point, because that really coming to terms with who you are and valuing who you are fully has been missed out. And what I'm seeing now is kind of a little bit in seeing this, developing a new approach to sovereign dialogue, introducing that to people who you know, they're fans of the sovereign dialogue approach, and so they like what we've been doing. And I could sense in some of them a kind of jitteriness at the structure being changed, and the expectation of really bringing it in-house for everybody, rather than kind of externalizing the framework of a question, just going, it's in you, so therefore go for it. And 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 proposing that if you feel that discomfort, well, let your sovereignty work with that, so that it's okay to feel discomfort when a beloved structure is being changed. I know I can go right off the deep end sometimes when something I love is being tinkered with by somebody else and then presented to me. But there's an opportunity there to go, okay, what's that about? I'm feeling really uncomfortable about this. Why? What's it bringing up for me? Where's this going? And just following that in your own dialogue until it becomes integrated and goes, oh, it's okay. And it's like a knot that just gets gently teased apart. And if you don't tease apart that knot, but kind of just bounce over it, it stays there, and it's going to manifest itself in something at some point. Whereas if you let acceptance be part of that process, then it dissolves. I mean, our belief system never entirely goes away. It doesn't go away, but it becomes easier and easier to neutralize and not act from that sense of, for example, needing to control or needing to achieve or need whatever your own unconscious drivers are.
And I think it requires a slowing down, right, of our thinking, so that I love that metaphor of we kind of bump over it. It's like um without acceptance, it's like we rush through it or rush over it, and then we just get to action
Mm.
because we tend to be so action oriented. Uh, and we try, and often we feel better because we're doing. Whereas actually, if we're doing, but we haven't done the acceptance work, we just end up doing more of what we've always done. Or we might do things differently, but actually, if you look at it a bit more carefully, you'll see that you are kind of just doing the same thing. Whereas if you slow down and you do the acceptance work, like I love that metaphor of, like, I'm thinking of, like, like a gold necklace chain that's all,
Mm.
you gotta sort of do that with it a little bit to sort of start to ease it out, and then you can begin to unpick the little knots and the how everything's all knotted together. But that process of doing that just allows you to see things with more clarity. And then you're like, oh right, I can actually see what it is that I'm jumping over. And then somehow it does dissolve. Like, that's definitely the experience of it.
Mm.
It's like, oh, I've got options, right? There are other options available to me that I didn't realize before. And that bit, I think, is the thing that makes the difference. So now I can go through that. I'm in the action phase now, but I'm acting from a place of awareness. I'm acting from a place of acceptance, and then I can choose to be different in this situation. And that's the bit that, makes the difference. That's how I think we can be in our doubt and also be in our certainty at the same time. That's how that
Yes,
paradox can
yes,
coexist.
definitely.
Mm.
I'm just trying to find what was the expression that somebody came up with
Was
today?
it the way is the way?
Yeah,
Or what's in the way is the
what's
way?
in the way is the way. Yeah.
Yeah. Or the obstacle is the way is a name of a book that I
Mm.
think touches on that same sort of thing. The obstacle is the way. But yeah, what's in the way is the way. Yeah.
And it can become too much the way for some people, like they become fixed on resolving their identity, healing their identity, and that's not what's needed. Like, it's being real, it's accepting, it's seeing and being okay with all of who you are, and then not needing to kind of eviscerate it and get rid of it entirely. It's just like, okay, there it goes, there's my old friend. um and also, I think when you do get to that point of acceptance, you start to see the gold in your belief structures,
Mm.
because there's beneficial and there's less beneficial always involved in it. And there are skills in any belief that we hold, that it has skills. It teaches us to do certain things very, very well. Um, and when you can be with the acceptance of it, rather than the, ooh, there's a bit yuck, I'll just move on from there and try and ignore that it's part of me.
Mm.
You lose connection with what's been valued. You start trying to chuck the baby out with the bathwater.
Mhm.
Um, and it's a shame, because you end up forgetting that you have resources that have been that are still available to you to be used. But the other thing about that is what you were saying there. It's what also why it's so important to approach this from a centered sovereign space,
Yes.
because our starting point is always egoic, is always unconscious. That's how we wake up, that's how we start anything, is mostly in reaction to it.
Mm.
And we, without the rigor of going, okay, what's coming up for me, what is it that's wants to be expressed or is making me uncomfortable or is my first impulse to do, then going, okay, and is that the only thing I could do, or are there other options, is there other possibilities? You could easily kind of convince yourself that traveling down the same old pathways is actually incredibly creative and sovereign act for you to do. Whereas actually, if you really take a moment, it doesn't take long, but just that moment to center
Mm.
and to clear your mind, give yourself that kind of clear space where you're not being impacted by the noisiness of your thoughts and feelings. You have taken a breath, you have taken a moment to be in your body, um, and therefore to clear the clutter of your mind a little bit. That's when that wending pathway can open up and really start taking you towards your the vision of what you'd love for your
Mm.
life.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. I've always been someone who has deferred to other people with the assumption that they know better than me. Like, it's something that was instilled in me when I was very young, and a lot of the choices that I've made about the people that I follow and the teachers that I learn from have helped to reinforce that.
Mm.
And I'm coming to realize that um, through this sovereign dialogue process, that I have a lot of wisdom to to offer, as does everybody. So I'm not saying that I'm anything special. We all do. And that that comes, for me, it comes from that centered place.
Mm.
So again, I can still hold that belief that I have, because that's a habit. But when I allow myself to center and I'm in my sovereignty, it's like that belief just takes a back seat.
Mm.
And over time, I'm starting to notice that that belief is losing its grip, which is really, really exciting for someone like me, who has been so kind of what's the word, with the blinkers on. I've been so blinkered about, yeah, this is the thing. This is the thing that, other people know more about this than I do.
Mm,
And that's not to say that other people don't know more about something than I do,
mm,
but it's actually more to the point, and I've still got something that I can really contribute. Um, and that what I want to be able to do is, even if I do listen to what other people say, I still want to act from a place of sovereignty within myself. I don't want to just do what someone says because I think they're the expert and I'll just blindly follow what it is that they're saying.
mm.
So
Yeah,
all of that also feels very alive as part of this process.
if only we were teaching our kids this earlier. Well, the world would be in a better state if people weren't just blindly following the
Yeah.
say-so of other people.
Yeah.
I suspect that there is not, I mean, that everyone has some form of authority issue within them,
Hmm.
whether that's overconfidence in your own authority, whether it's underconfidence in your own authority, whether it's a desire to um, cling on to somebody who you think is the authority and be their trusty lieutenant, or whether it's fuck the authorities altogether and you know be a rebel
Yeah.
towards it. Authority issues are very, very prevalent in our world, and I think it's such a valuable opportunity to bring your authority in-house.
Mm. Yeah, beautiful. Feels like a good place to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So today is the 5th of March. We did a session on the 3rd of March, which is a Tuesday, and we did one on Thursday, the 5th of March, at 8 o'clock in the morning. And we're going to be running those two sessions, 7 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 a.m. UK time, for the next 12 weeks. So if you would like to experience sovereign dialogue and be a part of this, then there'll be a link in the notes so that you can sign up to that and come and join us. Give it a try. See what you think. You might be really pleasantly surprised by what you experience.
Yeah, sessions are by donation, so
Mm.
um, it's available to you whether you feel you've got the cash or not. Um, and it's a very lovely community, a very welcoming bunch of people who come very regularly.
Yeah, brilliant. Great. So we'll wrap it up here and we'll do our next YouTube live next Thursday at 4 p.m. UK time as well. And hopefully people will start to join us and we can have a more interactive conversation. So until next time, adios.
Take care.